And I'm staying on with the continuous coverage of the Israel-Hamas war. In the latest, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has dismissed Hamas's proposal for a ceasefire.
Now, Netanyahu ordered troops to prepare to move into the city of Rafah in Gaza's far south, where more than 1 million Palestinians have sought refuge. However, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says he still sees space for an agreement to be reached here.
Right. Blinken says that he warned the Israeli leader against actions and talk that inflame tensions in the region. Take a listen.
What I can tell you about these discussions is that while there are some clear non-starters in Hamas's response, we do think it creates space for agreement to be reached. And we will work at that relentlessly until we get there.
Netanyahu told at a televised briefing that he'd ordered troops to prepare to operate in Rafah and that a total victory by Israel over Hamas was just months away. But he warned that accepting the Palestinian group's demands for a ceasefire would not lead to the return of hostages, charging that it will only invite another massacre.
In Beirut, Osama Hamdan, a senior Hamas official, urged all resistance factions to continue the fight. He urged caution against Israeli treachery during the final quarter hours of this confrontation.
Now, one of the hostages released as part of a temporary ceasefire deal brokered in November also put pressure on the Israeli leader. Adina Moshe said, and I'm quoting here, "I'm very afraid and very concerned that if you continue with this line of destroying Hamas, there won't be any hostages left to release."
An official from mediator Egypt told news agency AFP that a new round of negotiations would start on Thursday, which will be aimed at achieving calm in the Gaza Strip. A Hamas source said that the Palestinian group had agreed to the talks with the goal of a ceasefire, an end to the war, and also a prisoner exchange deal. Just last week, a Hamas source said that the proposed new truce calls for a 6-week pause to fighting and a hostage prisoner exchange, as well as more aid for Gaza. Negotiations have continued since then.
Now, the Palestinian Health Ministry said the 2 men were shot dead by Israeli forces in the Nur Shams refugee camp near the northern West Bank city of Tulkarm. The UN chief said that he was alarmed by reports of Israeli forces would push on into Rafah, which is crammed with more than half of Gaza's population. Guterres also said, and I'm quoting here, "Such an action would exponentially increase what is already a humanitarian nightmare with untold regional consequences." Now, for more on this, we were earlier joined by our correspondent Susan Tehrani, who sent us this report. Listen to this.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, after meeting with Israeli leaders, says that Hamas militants put forward non-starters, but also says that the United States sees, quote, a space to pursue truce. Nonetheless, Israel's dismissal of Hamas's counter-truce deal was a setback for U.S. diplomatic efforts led by Antony Blinken himself. He met with Israeli leaders on Wednesday during his 5th visit to the Middle East, aimed in part diffusing tension before a possible Israeli offensive on Rafah, a city in southern Gaza near Egypt's border, where over 1 million displaced Palestinians have sought refuge. It's clear that despite weeks of indirect negotiations, Israel and Hamas remain far apart in agreeing to a ceasefire framework. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.